everybody. I'm Alex,
And I'm Mary,
and this is Lawyer,
lawyering out loud.
a podcast about life, lawyering, and
All the things we're mad about.
well, folks, here we are again, back at it again with the white vans.
Girl.
Bet y'all thought we weren't coming back.
We're here. We're here.
Oh yeah, like a bad abscess, like an orange president.
Still,
We're coming back.
so we're jumping straight into that?
um, not jumping necessarily, just stating
Yeah.
facts. You know.
How about we not? Not yet. Give me a moment to warm up. Please.
I didn't know I was skipping the foreplay.
Let's skip that one as long as possible.
Alrighty. So how are you, friend?
I'm good. We were supposed to do a short break, and I don't know what happened. Actually, I know what happened.
You don't know what
I would like to apologize to our listeners. It was
you
me.
don't have to apologize.
It was me. It was me.
You
I
did
do too much. I do too much, overcommitted.
because Alex
And
do too little. Sorry.
I mean, I didn't say that, but I overcommitted myself to stuff. And you and I have already had the conversation about how that pulled me in different directions. So we paused this for a second, but we're back, recommitted. 100% recommitted to the work that we're doing, the fun that we have with each other. And so, yeah.
I'm doing pretty good. Been trying to practice self-care or whatever. The last couple of months have been very interesting for me because I'm in like a weird space um where I'm like trying to figure out how I merge all of the things that I care about together and finally build a life that's not based on survival. Build a life that's based on, of course, work. I'm always gonna work, but still have a good balance that feel pull in 50,000 directions, do things that I love. As you know, I love reality TV, I love travel, I love all of these things. I've also always been passionate about fashion designing, and I just bedazzle my sewing machine. So I'm just trying to figure out how to build a life where I don't become a Jacqueline of all trade, but I dip a little into each of my passions
Right.
enough that I feel happy. So, been reflecting for the last 2 months. And of course, for the last month, I've been reflecting more because you motherfuckers trying to put your girl through the ringer again for another 4 years, but they ain't gonna happen. Y'all on your own.
We haven't even spoken about the election. And girl.
Not you with the glasses and the wine.
Girl. Girl. So we
Hmm.
didn't discuss it on camera, but you and I have been talking about behind the scenes
Yeah.
about what this means for you personally, what it means for me,
Hmm.
what it doesn't mean.
Hmm. And there's something that you knew even before the election. You knew that if they had electing the orange man, I was going to kiss the game goodbye.
Why? You want to tell the people?
She has. She has. So I am wrapping up all of my cases because I don't want to leave any of my clients high and dry, but I'm not taking any new cases because I will not be at airports. I will not be chasing Greyhound buses. I will not be going to detention centers. I will not be trading my girls' nights for reading last minute memos on Fridays. So I'm leaving it for the newbies and the ones that have the willpower.
And that's that.
Yeah.
Right. And speaking about that, only because I know when I've been on the phone with you what this has meant for you. What did Wednesday after the election look like for you as an immigration lawyer?
To be honest with you, it was not bad because I think that a lot of my cases and a lot of my clients had been panicking before.
Mm,
So by election day, I had spoken to most of them, prepared most of them, and told them, hey, listen, we're gonna do the best that we can. As you know, like I've been struggling with health issues as well. So I'm like, my health is not that great. This business is like too much. I had prepared myself for the possible outcome because unlike most folks, and if you were on my Facebook, you could see that I shared that back in 2016. Trump was not a mistake. I knew I understood this country because I've always worked with folks who exist at the margins.
mm,
I always knew the truth about this country. So I always knew there was a great possibility that you all would vote for him again. I always knew there was a possibility that because the white man and the biracial woman did not keep true to a lot of the promises that they had made, that people would revert back to the things that makes them feel good, oppression, right? Like we can all be unified about what's wrong with this country, right? I don't think it's a bipartisan issue that the economy is trash, healthcare is trash, education is trash, so many things are trash. But if we pretend like the problem is like gay people and trans people and black people learning their true history, and like immigrants, specifically like brown immigrants and black immigrants, then we divert our attention from organizing and coming together to actually combat the real problem,
right.
which is the elite, which is the billionaires, which is the healthcare companies. Like if we can't organize against Jeff Bezos if we are too busy thinking that the black people that Jeff Bezos hires are the problem and not Jeff Bezos.
That part.
So yeah, I was prepared. I was not surprised, and apparently you were not either. You were not surprised, disgusted maybe.
No, bro, we called each other that night. But you remember we were like,
Back at it again with the wife.
I mean, what I will say is that there was something that you once told me that stayed with me.
Mhm.
And you were like, Mary, I am a black woman. Me and my ancestors have always had to survive and be all right. Like, we're going to be all right. Is it going to suck? It's going to suck. And I was like, if we're 100% honest, we weren't that great off either under this presidency. And so, I think that's what has hit me the most this election is realizing like how complacent. I mean, we knew it from before, but how complacent all parties are. And it's like, so where do we go from here? So yeah, you and I were not shocked at all. We were talking and you were like, "Oh, there goes Georgia. We're done."
Correct.
Because we
But
knew Florida. We knew where Florida
please,
was.
please. But I'm going to tell you something. One of the things that I've been talking to folks a lot about, because even I'm new to Georgia, I'm not new to organizing. Politics is really my home. Like I've been organizing around political issues for a very long time. And folks in Georgia was like, Alex, we know this is your bread and butter. What do you think happened with Georgia? Why did Kamala not win in Georgia? I said, because Political experts told Donald Trump that Georgia was a purple state and that Georgia was a swing state. And he heard Georgia's a swing state. So Donald Trump came to Georgia. He went to Georgia and he went to all cities in Georgia. They told Kamala Georgia is a swing state. She heard black people in Atlanta don't vote, which is a lie, which is a lie. So she came and went to middle class events for black people in Atlanta, the guaranteed vote. So yeah, Georgia was not a swing state for Democrat because their strategy was not that of folks campaigning in a swing state. They did not try to turn on unregistered voters, young voters, people who don't typically vote. They didn't do that. So yeah, Donald Trump knew where the racists were in Georgia. He went right there. She made no efforts to go where the people she could turn were. You are campaigning in Buckhead. Girl, everybody in Buckhead is registered to vote. I ran for the registration in Georgia. I never registered people in Buckhead. Actually, if I did not want to sweat, if I did not want to have a problem, I would go and do for the registration in Buckhead because I know everybody was like, "Do you want to register for that?" Like, girl, already registered. Change your address. Change my address. Right when I moved, that's what you get.
I see what you mean. I see what you mean.
Singing to the choir, girl. You're singing to the choir. Everybody in Buckhead is registered. All them HBCUs have been running for the registration campaigns. You're not doing nothing here.
Mm, right. And so now we're here.
But at the end of the day, one thing they can never say about you or I is that we're disappointed that the lady did not win. We are not thrilled that the man won, but we don't care about this lady just as she didn't care about us. The campaigning more and more showed that she didn't care about folks like us.
Right. Right. And it's so funny because so many people were asking me like, "Yo, why don't you mess with her? Like, why don't you fuck with her?" And I'm like, I wasn't as vocal as I could have been because I'm very vocal about politics on my social media. I wasn't as vocal because regardless of that, obviously, I mean, I don't know, I can't even say it. We were gonna have a whole episode about voting, right?
And
And
I'm glad we did not.
girl, 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 right? And I can't like I wasn't as vocal this time around because I didn't want to give the bad idea because I still voted for her, right? But I'm tired of the let's vote for the least evil, blah blah blah, whatever. And I know there's some people that have like issues with hearing that and being like, oh, like she was the most qualified, she wasn't the least evil. I was like, no, no, no. She could be the most qualified and still be the least of both evils. But at the same time, what when her response to Gaza was non-existent?
It's not even just that. She is most qualified to run a country and a system that we are suffering under. Yeah. She's more qualified to run the BS we don't want. Yeah. Yeah. She's not more qualified to bring the change that we need. She's qualified to maintain the status quo. Yeah. Y'all wanted her because this system serves y'all. The people it doesn't serve, we're not thrilled with her. That's the truth. And the one of the things that to me was a major should be a major eye opener for the Democratic Party is that even if every single person who voted third party in every state voted for Kamala, she still would not have won. If that does not tell you something, I don't know what the fuck will.
Mm, right,
Yeah.
because people were blaming like, oh, you threw your vote away. uh
No, we did not throw it away. We did not throw it away. You threw your campaign away. You threw the funds that you raised from the middle class, upper middle class, and rich people away. We didn't throw shit away. We held on to the little that we have in a country that doesn't give us nothing.
that part.
The Democratic Party consistently want to portray Republicans as the party that taps into fear mongering and all of that stuff. Y'all do the same. Y'all do the same. Y'all do the absolute same. I do the absolute same. And y'all like, oh, but we are the party of equality. We want, please pass
Where
us with this shit. Pass us with it. We don't care. We know it's a lie.
I mean,
We know
even
it's
if you watched some of the debates, that's literally what was happening. Like they would be asked questions, and the response would be, "Well, do you want another 4 years of Donald Trump?" And it's like, focus. That was not the question. So you're right. They were tapping into that fear mongering themselves, and
we don't care about none of that. That shit don't work. And that's why, like, the only people who voted for Trump that I'm upset about are white people.
oh, I thought you was gonna go for Latino. I was like, bitch, you
Are
you
white
go.
people. I'm not even upset at white Latinos, to be honest with you, because I see them as a victim of their own circumstances.
Of their
You know,
self-loathing.
self-loathing, but also a victim of misinformation, right? One of the things that I think a lot of people don't talk about as well is how much media, particularly in Miami,
Woo!
is ran by oligarchs. Like, people who run Latino media in Miami are extremely wealthy.
Correct.
They love Trump because Trump is good for their financial interest. And I don't think Latinos in Miami um are aware of what the world outside of Miami looks like, because there's so much propaganda
Right.
thrown at them that like, I don't think there's even an investment in trying to explore a world outside of that. So to me, it's like, if that's all you've ever known
Right.
and it's presented to you in contrast to something that you absolutely despise, because a lot of Latinos suffer a lot of political trauma from their home countries,
Right.
due mostly to US meddling, but we won't talk about that.
That's a whole other episode.
But
That is a whole other episode.
but when their reality is like Trump being juxtaposed to what they know back home, they're gonna run to that. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of us have like fucked up parents, but home still feels like home. Just the same way. Like,
Wow.
Trump feels safe when you're telling me the other side could be like going back home, like to their home countries. It's scary. So I
Damn,
don't know.
that I just got goosebumps. That was a powerful point.
Yeah. So like, I don't even judge them. I just feel, if anything, I just feel sorry for them, because I know that they're gonna be the group that's gonna be crying because their Tia's getting deported, and she's a good woman. She goes to church. Like, why is she being deported? Like, they're not gonna understand it. I thought you said Trump liked us. And the same people that's selling them that propaganda and that dream are gonna be nowhere to be found.
Correct.
So
That part.
yeah. So I don't like, to me, it's like, I'm not, white Latinos, there's a huge anti-blackness and a racism problem
Oh
in
yeah,
my
yeah, yeah.
with white Latinos. But I don't think their vote was moved by racism. I really don't think so. I really don't think their vote was moved by racism. I don't think that they were
By
like
what?
racism.
How
I
so?
think their I think their vote was moved by ignorance. I don't, does the ignorance include some anti-blackness? Yeah, but I think the Latino vote in Miami was moved by a fear of communism. It was not even that deep. Like, do they see Kamala as incompetent? Yeah, probably why they think she could be a communist, because they think she's stupid. Yeah. But were they thinking we're not gonna vote for this woman because she's a black Indian woman? Probably not. I think they didn't even look that deep into it.
You know
Did
what?
white people do that though? Did a lot of white American people do that? Yeah.
I
Yeah.
feel like they did. I feel like they did, but more
Yeah, I
than
think so.
that, it wasn't so much about Kamala as much as it was subscribing to the racist ideologies of Donald Trump, right? Because you like we've previously talked about, um the whole rhetoric of getting rid of these immigrants, especially brown and black immigrants, right, is what he ran on his platform.
Mhm.
And even black and brown immigrants in Miami are like, they come in here and then they cut the string, or they pull the ladder from behind them, and they're like, oh yeah, 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 that's it. Not the
But see,
like,
but that's
you know
what
what I
I'm
mean?
saying.
Let's close the border, because the amount of people, being from Miami, that I heard encouraging that, and I'm like, you just got here,
Yeah.
you're benefiting from all of
You
this.
see, yeah, but this is the thing though. So to me, I look at them in the same way that I look at Enrique Tario being like the leader of the Proud Boys. This is like internalized self-hatred.
Right.
So it's beyond. Okay, so I take that back. I'm gonna formulate my point better because you made me realize something. It's not that they were not moved by anti-blackness and racist ideologies. Is that it was not informed by a desire to dominate over others, right? It was more informed by internalized racism and internalized self-hatred. So was it rooted in anti-blackness and racism? Yeah, yeah, you're right. Absolutely, you made me realize that. Like, I need to formulate my point better.
Right.
So yeah, the root of it all is white supremacy, but it manifests in different ways. But you did make me realize something. I did say that wrong when I said I was not informed by racism. It sure the fuck was. It sure
Right.
the fuck
A
was.
hundred percent. 100.
Racism and white supremacy, different facets of it, but definitely the same fucking way. When whiteness is the only thing you have, I guess you have to hold on to it at all costs because my lord.
Well, even if, well, whiteness is the only thing that they have, but even if that's the only thing that they have, it's one thing they have above others. And
Yeah, that's
the
something that they
whole
can always weaponize. In a racist society, whiteness is a massive gift.
1,000%, a thousand percent.
Massive gift.
So, like you were saying, whiteness can be weaponized. And so when you and someone else are up to bat and you have whiteness over the other, it's going to count for something, right? So you can still vote against your own interests simply because you identify with racist notions or racist systems that one person is clearly advocating for, right? And I say clearly because I feel like both are. This one's just more to your face about it. And let's also not forget whiteness, but also like the socioeconomic, right? It's so funny because there was a meme going around during the elections that it was like, when he talks about taxing the rich, you and your 35, 40, 50, $70,000, ain't it? That's not who he's talking about, right? Right.
Or like tax breaks for the rich.
Yes. And there's people who were like, oh, because he wants to do tax breaks, baby, you're not gonna see it.
Oh. I I'm gonna say that in the least elitist the way that I can. I'm trying to be nice, okay? So bear with me as I take a break. Um this election really showed me that there's a lot of people out there who don't understand the meaning of wealth and money. Um a lot of you motherfuckers are significantly poorer than
Mm.
you are. If you think that $200,000, $100,000 is wealth enough to make you vote for Trump,
That part, right? The silence. The silence speaks volumes.
And that tells me this is how I know y'all don't have no real money for real. Because if you don't make enough money to hire an accountant to tell you that you don't got no tax breaks money, you don't make enough money, baby. Okay? If you still use a tax preparer or you use H&R Block,
This is not an endorsement.
this is and I have an accountant on retainer kind of tax break. Okay? If you go to somebody, even if there might be a CPA once a year to do your taxes, you outside of your tax bracket, baby. We're talking about people who do quarterly reports, okay? We're talking about people who need people watching their funds regularly. We're not talking about your once a year visit, babes.
This was you trying to say it. I'm dead. You ain't lying though.
It's so stupid to me to watch people or like to hear people be like, "Oh yeah, I had more money in my pocket under Trump." Yeah, you did because you were home. Because there was COVID. So if you want to have the same kind of money you had under Trump, babes, you're going to have to just sit your black ass home. That's the only difference. Trump ain't do shit for you.
But he gave $650.
That's another
Isn't that
thing.
what what's her name
You
said?
made enough money to get Trump's tax break. You outside of your tax bracket. If you qualified for a stimulus, baby,
Isn't that what what's her name?
again, I
It was a
am
rapper. Wasn't
in
she? Did
my
she say that?
classism and my elitism, so we're not even gonna go into this conversation because this is a dumbass conversation to have. Okay, for you to think that you qualified for a stimulus, meaning you made less than $70,000, and then you would get the same tax benefits that Bill Gates will get, is absolutely asinine. I don't know why we're talking about this. It's just gonna let me show my ass further unnecessarily.
I mean, Alexandra, where do we go from here, ma'am?
To the next topic, our year in review. That's where we
So,
go from.
our year in review, a full year. So, we put out our episodes. Well, we started putting out content in June, episodes in July. But first of all, we've already said that this was in the works for 4 years. But this past years when we were like, now we're putting in work.
Yeah.
What would you say is the highlight of this year for you?
In podcast land or in Alex land?
Both. Good question. Both. Both.
So, so are you asking about a year in Alex land or in podcast land?
Both. Good question. Both.
In Alex land, highlight of 2024. Didi went to jail. Luigi delivered the people justice. Um, what? Um,
Okay.
um, and I bedazzled my sewing machine. Yeah, those were my three highlights. In
Is it
podcast,
because your sewing machine is sitting in front of you and you see it, and that's why you said it?
no, I'm not sitting in my sewing room actually.
Okay.
But I do love it that it's cute and bedazzled, just like I like it. It's almost like having a baby. Y'all don't need to come for me out here, moms. I know it's not like having a baby.
Okay. Just
I know you motherfuckers want to cut people's neck every time they mention something about childbirth. That's not childbirth. I'm not saying it's the same. I'm just saying this is what I birthed. Cause the bitch don't got no uterus to give birth to no child. So,
Not you putting
but-
shit out here.
so, so with that being said, I
Okay.
love my little sewing machine, and all of the nice clothes is gonna give me. In podcast land, in podcast land, I really enjoyed our episode on religion.
Mm-hmm.
I really enjoy the fact that the people get to see how much of a fucking diva you are in real life. Yeah, even now applying your lipstick while I'm speaking, your lip gloss, very typical of you. Diva behaviors through and through. And I also really enjoyed the fact that we got a chance to really connect. I think you and I were really always really cool friends. I really enjoyed you as a friend, and I hope you enjoyed me as a friend. But I think we got really close to just chit chatting about bullshit on
Uh-huh.
the podcast, off the podcast, and just seeing you find yourself, find your peace, like carve your own lane in your own way has been beautiful to watch. So yeah, those are my three things in podcast land.
Friend, I loved you.
I'm not doing Fifi's today.
So
Love you too.
for me, the three in Maryland, well, top of my list because it just happened. I moved into my own apartment
Woo-hoo!
and I'm loving it. Number two, I feel like me and my friends, the growth that I've seen in my friends has been outstanding, right? Including you, the leaps of faith that you made, my other friends. Like it was a great year. It was a great year. And I would say my growth in therapy, in my boundaries, right? And yeah, definitely my growth in boundaries and how I've seen that show up in other places. And, since I just mentioned friends, I would say the friends that hold me accountable, right? When I was doing too much, I had a friend tell me, "You just did an episode about rest. Where did that go?" And I said, "Ooh." I said, "Okay, friend, I hear you." Oh,
Ready for filth.
she sure did with a smile on her face. She sure did. And so those are my highlights in Maryland. For the podcast, I would say number one is like you said, just us connecting. Even when we weren't recording and we were still FaceTiming each other, like I feel so bad. And at the same time, I don't, but a little bit bad for your partner because I feel like we're always on FaceTime. We're always doing something. I feel like they're going to be like, Mary again? But they love me and I love them. So, you know, like you said, I think number one for me in the podcast is how much our friendship has like grown. What else? Another highlight of the podcast is how much I would say the quality of it has grown, or not even the quality, but like our knowledge of like producing it, creating it, editing it. Like our skills are growing every single time.
Bitch, have you seen my little videos that I've been doing on
Yes,
my
I'm so proud of you. I'm
The
so
bitch couldn't even say cap cut. Remember I used to say cat cup? Now look at me.
like growth, literal growth. And what else? I would say, you know what? The people that have followed us and that like send us message continuously, because sometimes we feel like, are we doing anything? And then people are like, when are y'all coming back? And we're like, oh shit, yeah, you know. Um, so although it wasn't intended to be this long of a break, it happened. But I feel like you and I are like even more committed to this
Yeah.
going into 2025.
For sure. We had so much
We
fun.
did. We did.
I think also folks don't realize that this podcast is no different than what we do every day. We just kind of, because we have respect for y'all, we put eyebrows on to talk the shit.
I'm dead. Because that's so true.
This is what we do every fucking
'Cause, bitch,
day.
when I call you looking
Talk
a
that
mess,
shit.
with my legs spread out like this, my hair in a bun, like,
Girl, we don't even need to talk about my hair. Even today, minutes
like,
is
you're right. It's the lack of respect for me. Yeah.
yeah. The only difference is some some eyebrows and some lashes, but the conversation is the same. The fucking same.
It literally is. You're right. You're right. And sometimes we have to remind ourselves, like, yo, let's keep the conversation for the podcast. Because we
I
be
mean,
going in on the
just
regular.
now we did that
We
today.
did do that today. We did earlier.
But yeah, so it was a beautiful year.
It was.
I think that one other thing um that I do wanna mention, I think is also important that was part of the podcast and part of our lives in 2024 is that overall it was a good year, but it was a year with highs and lows, and a lot of times
Mhm.
where the episodes were late or things like that. It's because life was lifing. Like, and I think one of the things that you and I we even talk about sometimes, and I talk about a lot, even with some of our other friends, is there is a perception out there, and that also existed within us of what life is like as a lawyer,
Mm.
of what life is like when you are able to do certain things, make certain amount of money, have access to certain things. And when you are in it, it's a little different, right? It's a little different. It's hard to have work life balance sometimes. It's hard to make long-term goals, stick to them, and prioritize rest as you're doing it, and not get wrapped up in like, let me make as much as I can, work as much as I can, do as much as I
Right.
can, right? It's so much of that. And also I think there is a, and I think like you probably could relate to that as well, being that you're not from a necessarily wealthy family, is this idea of like stealing the moment, right? Like it always seems like, let me do this now because I can, as if you won't be able to tomorrow. And yeah, tomorrow's not guaranteed, but like just trying to make the most of every day in a very capitalist and abusive to the body kind of way.
Mm.
Uh, so yeah, this year was not like, it's not all flowers and butterflies and
100%. There were days that we would literally call each other where we were supposed to record, and we looked at each other and we're like, it's not today, huh? It's not gonna happen. Because we would not make it happen. Like, we knew it would push us over the edge to do it.
correct, correct. And sometimes it's not even the recording. Sometimes it's like having to do the hair and the makeup is just too much. And
Right.
motherfuckers be overcritical. Y'all wouldn't take me with no eyebrows.
You know, that's my biggest insecurity are my eyebrows.
Girl, your eyebrows look perfect.
Girl, because I've been working on it.
But
Girl.
yeah, no, I'm joking. Our people, first of all, we have a very small group of people, and our people are not like that. They're caring and loving. But um I'm more self-critical than I am critiqued, thank God. I would not dare put myself in front of a camera with no eyebrows.
It's a thing. It's like if we feel good, if we feel better, like if we, you know what I mean? Like we're gonna do better. We're
Yeah.
gonna show up and show out. I mean, we show out at all times.
Period.
But
Period.
yeah, I agree. I agree. Sometimes that was the one thing that we were like, girl, I can't do it today, but tomorrow I got a dinner at 6. So can we record at 3? I'll be ready. And that way I'll have the makeup done for dinner. Like,
Yeah.
and it got done. So, I guess our commitment for 2025 is just to continue to tap into that, but also, to recommit.
Yeah. And I think like one of the things that speaking about 2025 and moving forward is that I think that we also need to work into accepting that this is really a podcast and podcast is not visuals. Like the internet make podcasts a visual thing.
Mm.
And sometimes when we can't have the eyebrows, maybe we can just have our voice and have that be good enough. But maybe leaning more into the not so great parts of like doing this as well,
Yeah.
like maybe sharing some of that, like sharing when you go to court and it does not go that great, or when your lying ass client tells yet another motherfucking lie.
Or you stand up in front of the judge and you're like, Your Honor, my client didn't blah blah blah, and then the say is like, oh yeah, because we got this, and then you
That's
gotta look at the client and you're like, sorry, sorry, I tapped into something that
no, triggered. Yeah, yeah. No, but this is the part that nobody talks about, right? Like
right.
we talk about the fact that, oh my God, we won with this, with that, but we ain't never talk about the fact that sometimes you be confident as fuck and you don't know that there's a lying ass motherfucker about to make a fool out of you in front of some people. But I would say this: if I don't think I can give you any advice because you're such an excellent attorney and you're such an excellent like litigator. But like on a person to person advice, um, I have taken these moments as pure comedy. Like, I don't know if you remember way back then, you might not, but like on Snapchat and TikTok, like early TikTok, I used to post something called Alex and her shenanigans, where I would literally go out of court and like go live and joke around how the motherfuckers got me fucked up. Like, your freedom is at stake and you think you're gonna lie to me? Bitch, you stupid. Like, you literally have to laugh about it because what the fuck?
Your freedom is at stake and you're sexually preoccupied about my body? Sir, my body's on the outside. Like, what?
Like, the motherfuckers be out here telling you crap and lying and thinking like it's better to be judged by your attorney and be defended in court than trying to put up a front for me and then here you are looking stupid as hell. Stupid as hell.
Now we're both looking stupid. Yo, can I tell you something funny that happened to me now that you say that? It's so funny.
Mm-hmm.
I'm arguing a bond motion, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the judge, he's not a threat to society. He's looking to fight this case. I stand next to the client, right?
Mm-hmm.
And as I'm telling the judge, he's not a threat to society, the client stands up and starts screaming and losing his shit. And he's like, Y'all are violating my rights. I'm gonna fuck everybody up.
Correct. Correct.
And I'm looking at him. Mind you, when he got up and did that sudden movement, my reaction was,
Yeah.
and then I had to look at the judge like this.
Yeah.
Judge, I stand by my previous argument.
Correct, because this would be me. This is exactly what I'm saying, Judge. What is the threat? The man needs to be medicated. Can we take him to the mental health center? Like, I swear to you, my most innovative arguments are the ones that I don't think about. I be sitting there with a straight face, like, Judge, do you see my point? Judge, do you see it? The man needs some Xanax, okay? The man needs
Something.
something, okay? He don't need jail, Judge. What you gonna do? You never said the man not a threat. Now he say he gonna whoop the judge's ass. Judge is not a threat to society. Might be one to you, Your Honor, but you are not society.
I was like, I was like, when he said he gonna kick everybody's ass, not you, Your Honor. He's speaking. Please don't add a felony threat on him, Your Honor. He's not able to carry it out. But yeah, that's the shit that be really going down.
Yeah. But you
Um,
gotta laugh at that shit. Cause what you gonna do? What you gonna do? When you're standing there, you be wanting to cry so bad. After
you
it's
know the gif of the kid that's like this.
over, after it's over, it's like, yo, this motherfucker's funny as
The best part is I'm in front of a really good judge, right?
hell.
And sometimes I go judge, and he's like, Miss Rojas, I'm already on. I was like, thank you, Judge. Thank you. Thank you.
I told you one time I was doing a case. Oh my god, that must have been like 8 or 9 years ago. And the client straight up get caught in a lie and said, Judge, my lawyer did not tell me that I needed to tell the truth. Bitch, what lawyer? What lawyer? Which lawyer? Which one? So this is me going, who he talking to? Who he talking about? Who? Ah! The man said my lawyer did not tell me I had to tell the truth. Thankfully, the judge is this wonderful black woman that I love. She's a little bit of a controversial judge. That's none of my business. I love her. She love me. We good.
Period.
And she was like, okay, let's assume that this is true, which I know it's a lie because I know Miss Odat will tell you to tell the truth. I said, period. So now I'm like, I don't know if I'm defending your interest or mine, bitch, because you done lied on me.
Right.
In my head, I'm like, period, judge.
Looking through the
And she
the
was
rules of ethics, what I gotta say.
the judge. So I shut my mouth, girl, because the judge was handling business. And you know me, I know my place, honey. So I stayed in my lonely place, and the judge was like, also, regardless, you were sworn to tell the truth. Just checks her clock and tells him exactly when we started, like 27 minutes ago or some shit like that. So I'm sitting on like, God damn, like now what's the consequence? Now I'm glad this nigga got checked. So, but what's gonna happen now? So she's like, I'm not going to hold this against you because I think you have great things in your future. I said, he does, Your Honor. He really does. She was like, bitch, look at you, bitch, shut the fuck up. This bitch
Right.
just lied on you. Talking about, yes, he does. This is me. Yes, he does, Your Honor. Yes, he does.
Bruh. It's the way that we still go hard for them, even when they
Agree. What was I gonna do? So of course, when the hearing is over, I'm like, what the hell you mean I didn't tell you you had to tell the truth, motherfucker? And this nigga gonna tell me, well, you told me not to lie, but you didn't tell me I had to what?
what?
This bitch said I told him not to lie and tell him to tell the truth. And this is me, right? Because like in my head, I'm thinking, wow, like ethics violation issues, whatever. So the judge is like, counsel, do you want to ask your client anything about the statement he just made? So I'm like, what a tough situation. So I'm like, no, Your Honor. But I will speak to him about it off the record. She looked at me. I'm like, God damn. Like, what's gonna happen now? What's gonna happen now? What's gonna happen now? I was stressed for a few minutes until she was like, actually, bitch, we told you to tell the truth. I don't give a fuck what this lady told you or not. I was like,
Period.
that
Thank you,
part,
Judge.
that part.
Um, there was a client. We literally prepared a whole motion for his drug use. I have to put him under oath. The judge puts him under oath. And I'm like, Mr. So and so, how long have you been doing drugs? I don't do drugs. First question, bitch.
Mr. So I didn't ask you if you cooked it. How long have you been swallowing it?
I said, the state jumps up and they're like, Judge, because he doesn't use drugs, therefore you have no jurisdiction to go below the guidelines, and you have to give him prisons, right?
No, Judge, he's done so many drugs he can't even remember. That's why
So the
we.
judge says, right, if this is a mental health evaluate, a mental health downward, not a drug one, I'm not going to grant this one since he's saying he's never done drugs. wait a minute, Judge. What you mean I never did drugs? I said I don't do drugs now because I've been in jail for 6 months. I did drugs since I was
That's
12.
right. See,
I did blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, now this motherfucker want to talk.
let him talk. He was cooking. Let him cook. No pun intended. Let him cook.
Oh, put his foreheads. I
Listen,
haven't used drugs in 6 months. I'm clean now. I'm clean.
no, you're not. You're not. Clearly, the drugs is still in your fucking brain. That's why you're talking this shit right now. But honestly, though, when I tell you, like, I think the judges be sitting there on their benches and they look at me and they just shake their head. They're like, "This bitch is crazy." Because this is what I would be like, Judge, and this is a manifestation of the effect of drug use right there. Here, the man has forgotten how much drugs he did. He forgets, Your Honor. This is what drugs do to you. Well, them clients, they would have you fucked up. They would have you fucked up.
Bitch, but it's always a good time because it's like you never know what's going to happen.
Oh, that's a good time to you?
That's a good time. Maybe I'm a masochist.
Yeah, 'cause that's not a good time, bitch. The way I like my hearings to go from A to Z as I planned it, and that never
None of
happened.
my hearings go like that. Even when I plan it, none of them go like that. You know what? What
Mhm.
are our wishes for our clients in 2025?
Well, considering the fact that I ain't gonna have none, my wishes for myself 2025 is to venture into new law things. You and I have talked a little bit about that. So I do want to do that. I do hope that all of the clients that I currently have get to remain in the United States.
Girl, from your mouth to God's ears.
Mhm. Of course, for the podcast, I'm hoping 52 episodes. Once,
32,
well, it's not gonna happen, but I'm hoping we could put out something every week, even if it's not a full episode,
right?
um, or even if we pre-record. You know.
True.
I also hope we could have guests or do something more interactive. We'll see.
We did, when we first started this, we did say we wanted to keep this for us. And then next year we were thinking of bringing in guests. So, yeah, definitely something that we can explore. I feel like we both have access to so many like amazing people that, you know, deserve to be heard. So,
That's true.
yeah. Okay. Well, before we wrap up,
What about you?
oh, what was the question?
2025.
You know what? I look forward to continuing to work on my boundaries and recognizing that the more I say no is the more that I say yes to myself. So 2025 for me is going to be a year of self. And, as for my clients, like you, I know that my clients are going to feel the brunt of this presidential election, with this man already giving like a blank free for all to the police. If I was already seeing police brutality before, it's probably going to spike up.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm manifesting many more sessions with my therapist as I navigate what that looks like with my clients. But besides that, yeah, just growth. Still seeking growth, baby.
We do have to do a dating episode in 2025. We have to really put the girlies in our business.
Do we?
Oh, yeah. I'm ready. I have stories to tell, honey. Well, my dating life was great. I my picker was off. I didn't know how to choose them good. But I went on some date with some fabulous human beings.
No, I have to. I have to. I'm talking shit. I have.
I've been in relationships with some businesses, but dating was dating was when it came time to choose, I ain't doing too many good choices until recently.
Right.
But dating life was fun.
I guess you're right.
I feel like you've had plenty of fun dating
Oh, I've had a blast.
when it's not exhausting.
I've had a blast. I've had a blast. I haven't put this out there because we've been on a break, but the last few months I've told you the way that men have been approaching me just randomly. I mean, not necessarily men that I want, but and by that I mean Trump supporters. I don't know what about me makes them think.
When I tell you you're white, you think
It
I'm
can't be it.
lying.
It can't be it.
That's because you're blanca. You're
It can't be
gringa.
it. You know what? When you say Blanca, I'm gonna censor it on this podcast. You're disrespectful.
They see a friend in you.
They must think, oh, she's one of the Latinas that voted for Trump.
Correct. It's giving
There
that
goes
one
my
arrow
wife.
for Donald Trump. Voy a votar por Donald Trump.
Like, there goes my wife.
There
Wrong.
goes.
Wrong. So,
Uh-huh.
what is our learning out loud for 2024?
Last one, learning out loud for the year is in law and in life, always take time to smell the roses. You're learning out loud.
My learning out loud is showing up authentically every day can be exhausting, but still choose it.
Mm-hmm.
Still choose it because you don't do it for this reason, but you don't know who else you're encouraging to show up authentically as themselves. So do it. Choose it anyways.
Yeah. So cheers to 2024. Cheers to 2024.
Cheers. Yeah, cheers and not drink.
Oh, shit. Okay. To an excellent year in the books, to 2025 being even greater, to this podcast growing and remaining what we intended it to be, a place for us to have fun and talk our shit and to not letting politics dictate how we're going to leave 2025.
That part.
With that, the 2024 season comes to an end.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.